Well, if I were her, I would have slapped you, but none of this is usable as an intro, by the way.
What's that?
I think we have to start scripting intros.
Yeah.
Like next time, write down ideas for good intros, because every time we do one, I don't like them. I've never liked an intro you and I have ever done.
No, that'll suck.
This is the internet's worst gaming podcast. I'm your host, Loki Jarson, and with me here once again today is my brother, L0rd Masta of YouTube, also known as Thomas. Hello, Thomas.
Hey, how are you, Loki Jarson? How you been doing these days?
Tired as fuck. How are you?
We're sending a squad up.
Huh?
Star Wars reference.
Oh, fuck. I should have caught that. Well, I'll cut that. I want to apologize firstly for the background noise. If you can hear that, that's my air conditioner. We've previously mentioned on the show that I live in South Texas, and it is currently hot as balls, so it's staying on. Sorry.
Especially for future recordings of any kind, possibilities throughout the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Keyword
I don't know
possible.
if I get like a soundproof booth or something, but that seems unlikely. Also, too much effort for this. What do you have on for today?
Oh, about 3 completely different games. One of which that we kind of talked a little bit about, which I will plan on expanding more of, at least as far as recent experiences for me.
Uh-huh.
So the first thing I want to talk about is another one of those Oregon Trail derivative games. It's called The Caribbean Sail. It's relatively new, I think.
I've never heard of it.
So it doesn't ring the bell, do you? So this was released back on September of 2017, so that flew under my radar for years. So I can't recall how I discovered that game other than, I don't know, probably by complete accident or something when I was... You know how you do in the internet when you look up thing and then one thing leads to another and then another and then I found it.
Okay, so I wouldn't say... First of all, 2 things. I don't know how to spell Caribbean, apparently. Secondly,
when I was Googling that word, I just simply typed the and then Carib, and then there's like Caribbean. It's like, oh, it's EAN.
You know what? It's not like the Oregon Trail. It's like the Oregon Trail.
Yeah, something like that.
I think that gives a better representation because, you know, the graphics are incredibly simplistic, like a mid-'80s PC game.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the Caribbean Sail is by developer and publisher called Victorian Clambake.
Let's see, have they done anything else? No. So in 5 years, they've said, yeah, that's the one we've got.
Yeah, they've, as I said, it came out back in 2017, so it was in a beta, and it got out of beta about a couple of months ago. That kind of happens a lot when you post games on Steam, right? They've been on beta for years until, well, they finally done it.
A little behind the scenes here. How much did you pay for this game? Because I'm looking at the Steam page. You paid this much?
Yes, sir.
Holy fuck, dude.
It was on sale.
Alright, describe to me how fun this game is. It better be fun.
Well, I only played it once a couple of weeks ago, where I spent about, 30 minutes. And then just today I want to spend more time on it, knowing we're going to be talking about this, in which I spent about a good hour on it. Still trying to figure out what the hell am I doing, other than a few basic survival tips. Because you know how in all these trail games, well, particularly the Oregon Trail, where it's you and your party members, right?
Yeah.
And you got to get from this one place to the other. And hopefully everybody remains alive and healthy. Well, I would say it's a little more difficult than that. And as far as, you know, the in-game story goes, that they say that this old guy who is your father, it's like, here, take this letter to New York City. And mind you, this is set in the 1700s, during the golden age of piracy.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's and you start off in London, so basically you're an Englishman, and they don't give you much options in terms of, okay, here's your starting occupation and here's the ship that you're going to buy to sail with, because if you want to buy better ships and want to start off with better occupations, play the game more, get your experience points up, and you level up, and then eventually you'll get to unlock more of the options.
So is this like Oregon Trail? I don't know about Oregon, but Oregon is like a one-shot deal, right?
Yes.
Where, okay, so it is. It's like this isn't a roguelike or anything where you
hold on.
get ship experience.
Hold on, let me tell you. We've checked that a bit. It's like, yeah, it's one and done for Oregon Trail, but this is more replayable in the sense of it. It's like, yeah, you got to do more in order to. I mean, the only way to gain experience is you make it from. It's like you set off from London. That's your starting place, right?
Already on the back foot.
So earlier today, as I started in London, I went to do this little opportunity to get it off a tavern. What it was like, here, deliver this letter to Iceland. What's the capital of Iceland? Do you remember the name?
Reykjavik.
Yeah, deliver this to Reykjavik, Iceland. It's about a good 1,000 miles away, so have fun. And along the way, I mean, I can tell you the experiences of, so you can get an idea of what that game is like, other than those random events you see in trail games.
So I'm just gonna throw it out there. You spot a whale, a ship is approaching. Do you approach ship? Ask advice.
Yeah, we approached a ship, and since we have a spy glass, an hourglass, a telescope, if you will. I was just trying to find words. That it says they're flying the English ensign, and it's like, oh, it's our boys, all right. And so we approached the said ship and met its captain there, and you can even talk to them quite a bit, which the dialogue is always random. Which the captain says things like, know any good recipes for cooking rats? And another one where he says, I grow weary of waking to my crew singing the same shanty every single morning. And long live whatever monarch is sitting on the throne. And
good.
Yeah, and I also played some Liar's Dice with him. I made a small wager, because first time.
So what you're saying is this is less Pirates of the Caribbean and more Master and Commander of the Far Side of the World.
In the background of the game at the beginning, it said it was set after the end of the Spanish Succession Wars.
I mean in terms of like tone.
Yeah. Something like that. And so I played Liar's Dice with him, which I barely won because I had 2 dice left, if you're familiar with that game. It's been years, probably since 2017, since I last played Liar's Dice back in Red Dead Redemption 1. And
made famous by that one scene in Pirates 2, yes.
Yes. We saw that in theaters, by the way, 2006. And after we set off, and then we spotted Flotsam. In which for some reason, as soon as we met the Flotsam, the text popped up. It says, "This kicks brass monkey balls."
Never mind about the seriousness of the tone, I guess.
So we found some Flotsam, and we retrieved a French flag. You know, natural enemies of the English. And so we saw another ship, which is a Danish ship. I mean, again, we're on our way to Iceland. It's Danish territory at that time. In which I'm like, it's like, I don't know about their relations to the English, but just in case, fly the French flag. It's like, hey, we're friends, I guess, even though, well, here's the problem with that. We met the Danish captain who was obviously wearing a raincoat instead of a, you know what a British Army uniform, British naval uniform looks like. So we met this Kapitanian, or whatever it is, captain in Danish language, in which he says, good dog to the Kapitan, which again, in Danish language, so they actually speak their native language in the game.
Is there audio in this? Because this is all reading.
No audio other than the little shanty music. And little sound effects of things that you do, including, and again, I talked that Danish captain a little more, which he even says, "You don't speak Danish, do you?" And then and along the way, we did some fishing. I mean, there's two ways to fish in the game. If you have harpoons, you can carry about 20 of them, and you throw X amount of harpoons just to hit the fish. If you miss a fish with a harpoon, you lose a harpoon. If you hit that fish with the harpoon, you retrieve it back for reuse. That's one of the ways to get a food.
Doesn't make sense, but okay.
And if you got money, do the alternative. Buy a fishing net. Much more efficient.
From who?
Off of the store at port.
Store?
Sometimes when you meet up with one of these ships, like the English and the Danish ships we've met, sometimes you can buy stuff off of them for trade.
Okay. Because I was like, you're in the fucking Atlantic Ocean. There's no store. You're going to stop in at Fort Laramie and buy supplies.
Uh-huh. And I learned a pretty hard lesson regarding fishing in the North Atlantic on the way to Iceland. Be fucking careful of narwhals. Because one of my party members or crew members, it's like, as I was just like, okay, throwing fish in a harpoon, and then out of nowhere, a narwhal just jumps up like a bat out of hell, and then off the screen you see blood coming out. And I'm like, uh-oh. And the next thing it says, your insert crew member name here was gored to death by a narwhal. And it shows the picture of burial at sea.
So, for a quick second, I want to talk about the zeitgeist Oregon Trail has in gamers' minds.
Mm-hmm.
Because it started as an educational game in Minnesota, I believe, right?
Yes, mech.
And some people, I know I played it at a school we're not going to talk about, but I know I played a version of it, and it was unbearably boring. And, years later, you and our other brother, Nick, who used to be on the show a long time ago, played the Yukon Trail first, I believe, and I found this boring as fuck. But I was aware of the zeitgeist, even though I didn't know this word. So when you say Oregon Trail to someone, they're like, oh yeah, you have died of dysentery, because it's a meme at this point. Because that's all anyone remembers about the stupid-ass educational game is the various stupid ways your character could die. Which you delight in, may I add, once a month on your channel.
So
by making it as stupid as possible, an enjoyable experience, because it really is allegedly supposed to be educational. But in your mind, you have this idea of it's just you die in horrible, stupid ways, and it takes a long time to get anything done. So when you see shit like the Oregon Trail, it's just the same joke over and over. And now this game is like, well, is this just the same joke over and over?
So how do you feel about if one of your guys just got gored to death by a narwhal?
Dun dun.
And anyways, when we finally got to Reykjavik, we delivered a letter, and it's one of the few ways to make money in the game. It's like you deliver this letter to take it from one place to the other. And the others do little activities, including... oh, and by the way, each time you travel at sea, your ship will pick up barnacles on your hull, right?
Sure.
So when we took it to the dry dock, so one of the ways is to careen it. Yeah, that's C-A-R-E-E-N.
Yeah, I know. You clean it. I saw Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World.
Uh-huh. And so when we did that, it says, alright, would you like to pay 56 pounds, currency in the game, to have barnacles scrapped off of your hull for you? And I'm like, hell no, that's too expensive. And then if you say no, and it says, well, have fun scrapping it off yourself. And you play that little game to scrape off every single piece of barnacle on your ship, which takes a little bit of time.
You want the undercoating? We refueled your gas tank.
Yeah.
Get your oil changed here at the dry dock.
Yeah, and I even went back to London after a trip there, which again, we're only just taking the ones that has the shortest distance, because going off the whole ocean way, not suitable. Because there ain't no way you're going to keep your supplies refilled, and doubt you're going to keep using harpoons each time you fish to keep the food stocks up.
Sure.
And and when we went to London, it's like, okay, any opportunities? I mean, you visit the tavern, it's like, okay, any opportunities? It's like, hey, my ship's got barnacles. Do you want to scrape it off? And I'm happy to do more scraping. Oh, and before we even got to London, one of my crew members, also, again, just more of those random events. that as our food was getting low, and he's like, "Hey, one of the crew members has been stuffing more food on himself more than he should. He needs to be punished."
So you have your bosun whip him?
Yep, we flogged his ass.
Great.
So, and before you start flogging, it shows the condition of your crew member. It's like, it starts over, is fine, until flog a few times, and then flog again, flog again. Then you see deteriorating, until I flog again until it says he is weak, and then that's when I stop. So he learned his lesson, that it says he glares at me, but swears to cause no trouble. Your crew are solemn for now, if not a bit belligerent. So you have to treat your crew well in order to avoid a mutiny. So don't go too harsh on it when things, fuck up. And don't punish...
Once again, I'm gonna ask you a very important question. Please think before you answer. Is this fun?
I'm sure the fun parts will come and when I play more of it.
I'm sure it will come.
Actually, there was an instance where we saw a Spanish ship, and I was flying the English ensign again. And I'm like, I guess we're kind of good again since it's neutral due to... in actuality, there's, port relations screen whenever you're at port, and then you go to one of the little screens that says port relations. Where on my playthrough, it's just the relations such as English, Danish, Dutch, Spanish, French, and pirate. Every single one of them, neutral. Nobody's friendly or hostile at the moment. Except for that one Spanish ship, which, it's like, okay, let's approach them. And it's like, hey, an English ship, open fire, and then shooting begins, and you play that little minigame where they're shooting cannons at you, and you have to return fire. And if you feel like you're outgunned, you can surrender, and you may lose whatever.
So have you made it to the Americas yet?
No, barely made it past to the Azores. So you know those islands?
No.
Which are Portuguese. It's mid-Atlantic. Well, not like mid-Atlantic America. Anyways, it's... so it's like, do not fight tough-looking guys if you're not on a sturdy ship like a galleon or brigantine, because size matters, and it'll probably sink you down. And try to flee, and if you fail, then surrender. Or die fighting like a real man, honorably.
But you're not really a pirate in this, right?
No, not really. Not really. It's just you, But however, if you have a sturdy ship and have enough cannons that could pretty much sink everything down, then maybe you could start, being a pirate and such. In the sense of, let's sink the ships and pick up whatever flots and whatever crap that they got from there.
Well, at least that might be interesting. They made a couple of games like that from Ubisoft, but... it doesn't look fun to me at all. It looks exactly like the Oregon Trail, which is a big joke. Just the same joke over and over to me. Or at the worst, it's like the worst parts of Oregon Trail, besides the fake education, is the resource management. And I've been bitched about resource management for like 20 years. I don't want to do it.
And again, the ship that I was about to say rode on, we sailed on, is a sloop. It's just a basic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want bigger ships, we'll play more of it again. The whole, each time you make it a port, that's how you get your experience. And among other things. Or you could start on hardcore mode and sail on a raft. A raft with a sail on it.
So you'll get 5 miles and then drown because it's the fucking ocean.
Plus all the crap you put in and the cannonballs and the cannon.
Yeah.
So... Again, I'll be sure to play more of it, but if I'm ever going to do a playthrough in that in the future, well, it's going to require a little more experience, so I don't have to, be the kind of person who is inexperienced for such things. And not to mention, make a lot of money so you can buy other stuff like medicine and apples to keep it healthy and prevent scurvy.
But you see going back to this well again, like Oregon Trail, just there's enough content here to keep going.
Oh yeah.
Alright.
So, it sounds like, again, it's been in beta for years, and they felt that, okay, we've done it.
Yeah, looking at these screenshots, I can really see why it took 5 fucking years to make this pixel crap. No disrespect, but I ain't playing this.
Otherwise, Who knows? If I ever make it from one day, for some reason, sail from London to Shanghai, which you can go over there, which maybe I'll be like, I don't know. It's like been there, done that, and
It's not the Caribbean.
yeah. Otherwise, they'll be saying things like, he's either the best pirate I've ever seen, or without a doubt, the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
Oh, you were looking to get that in. I'm so glad we held on for that.
No, I saw a screenshot of it.
What else have you been playing? I'm violently moving on to the next topic.
Well, let me take a drink, and it's not rum.
Never mind.
All right.
But why is all the rum gone? I haven't considered this.
Yeah, you can buy rum in the game. Anyways. So another game which has nothing to do with pirates or sailing ships or traveling trail.
I would say, considering the way you got it, I would say it has to do something with piracy.
What kind of piracy?
The digital kind.
Oh, yeah, I get it now.
Jeez.
So, anyways, this other game I've been playing, which I would say it's like you manage about old game. Well, we're gonna go back a little older than that, like 18 years ago, in fact. And it's a tied in to a then ongoing television show at that time. It's from that TV series Alias, and the game I played is Alias, the video game.
Did we ever talk about on here? I know you and I have talked about this off here, but how there used to be a ton of licensed games in the PS2, GameCube, early Xbox era, and there are very few licensed games anymore at all. But it was a swamp in that era. There were so fucking many.
It was commonplace.
Because they were cheap, and you wouldn't think they'd be cheap because they were based, if it was based off a movie or a show, they had to get some degree of the actors' likenesses. So tell me about this show before you go too far into the game.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about Alias when we did a podcast when we talked about Black Widow, one of the Marvel characters last year, due to the relevance of the said movie, as well as the GT videos I did way back when, which I'm still active on that a little bit. Now, the Alias TV series, it's a spy action drama with a little bit of sci-fi in it.
This was in the early 2000s on ABC, right?
Yes, from 2001 to 2006.
I can't really say if it launched the career of Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, and the rest of the cast members, including a then unknown Bradley Cooper, who was in that series.
Oh, yeah. I've never watched it because I can't be bothered. But this is one of your favorite shows?
It's in my top 5 of all time.
Alright then.
But it's more of a impact on real life than anything else, for that matter.
We don't need to talk about that.
Of course not.
So, obviously, you didn't start watching until years after it was off the air.
Yeah,
so
close
you
to
didn't
10
know that
years.
there was a game. Huh?
Yeah, close to 10 years.
So you didn't know that there was a game until, obviously, way later. So, how did these... What led to you getting it?
Well, actually, I first heard about the Alias video game when I got the DVDs for that TV series in 2012. And when I was watching Season 3 on DVD, they would have these little trailer previews for upcoming shows or movies at that time, right?
Sure.
And one of which was the Alias video game. That's when I first became aware of its existence. And did some more looking up on the internet, including little behind-the-scenes featurette that was also in that DVD, which is in special features.
So why did it take you so long to get the game is my point.
Yeah, just on one more little thing. That there was even a little video, including an image on the internet. Obviously Google it. Where there's a picture of Jennifer Garner herself playing as Sydney Bristol, her character, while she's playing on her PlayStation 2. I believe that's what the genre was around that time, 2004. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Even though I played the PC version of it. And Jennifer Garner there on that little featurette, she was playing it like a maniac. It's like, yeah, I'm having so much fun of it.
So it's fake playing, like they do. Like people do in TV and movies. No one who actually plays games, if you do, then you know how to not look like a doofus. we've seen a million movies and commercials where people are just putting their hands all over the control like it's doing anything.
Yeah, and that actually triggered a slight memory. There was a little scene in the series itself where Sydney Bristol was playing some video game. They didn't show it on TV, but it did had I believe it was a PlayStation controller with a friend of hers, in which she did say the lines like, "I'm gonna do this thing, and then I'm gonna kick your ass in that video game."
Just, again, mashing all the buttons, because that's how that works.
Yeah, she wasn't a big gamer girl type. No, it's just early season stuff.
It's just marketing, I think, for the game. But I knew about the show, obviously through commercials, J.J. Abrams, all that crap. But I didn't care. But I knew about the game, too, for even longer, because a little TV history. There used to be a show, I don't care if it's still on the internet, there used to be a show called GameSpot TV. Then they changed the name to Extended Play, and then they changed the name even further to X-Play. This was on at first it was, ZDTV for Ziff Davis, the magazine company. Then it was G4 Tech TV. Oh, there was Tech TV, then G4 Tech TV, then they just moved it to G4. Fucking whatever, all that background. So I have the vaguest of vague memories of an episode of X-Play where they reviewed this game, and obviously they did not give it a high score. So I have kind of still images in my head if I concentrate really hard on an old episode, but it didn't stick in there. So all that intro, how does it play?
How does it play?
Yeah.
Well, since it's a PC version, it's obviously quite different than what it might look like, at least graphically, as compared to the PlayStation 2 at that time.
I would imagine the PC visuals are actually sharper.
Oh, and it was also available on the old Xbox too, the original Xbox.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the game came out in 2004. I mean, for PlayStation Xbox, it came out on the 7th of April. Whereas for Microsoft Windows, it was on June 17th of 2004. Which, at that time, I believe Season 3 was airing at that time. And the game is set between episodes 19 and 20 of Season 2. Yeah.
Okay, I have no context for that, but fine, go ahead.
Yeah, otherwise I could be talking about this series all the live long day if I want to, but there's other podcasts that review that stuff.
I really prefer you didn't do that.
But anyways, it's a third-person stealth action video game, in which at that time it was developed by Acclaim Studios, which it was actually the last game being developed by them before their closure.
This bankrupted them?
Yes.
Those poor fuckers.
So again, it was developed by, but it was still published by Acclaim Entertainment. But it was Acclaim Studios. Cheltenham is the one that's...
Germany.
Yes. Yeah, that was one. And one of the writers, the plot was written by Breen Fraser, and J.J. Abrams had a hand of writing the plot of the story for that game. Because, it was still his baby, as he was...
So this isn't quite line up at the same time. Do you remember the James Bond video game Everything or Nothing?
I don't think I played that.
But you remember Nick or I playing it?
A little bit.
It was kind of a third... It was because every previous Bond game had been a first-person shooter, and this was the first one. It was like third-person stealth action, and it sucked dick. Is it anything like that? Like, how much hiding versus shooting people are you doing?
At the moment when I started playing that, I thought, my presumption was going to be a little more like Splinter Cell, in which I thought the Alias video game predates Splinter Cell, or came around at the same time. I was incorrect.
Yeah, you're way off.
Yeah. 2004 at that time, Pandora Tomorrow came out that time.
Mm-hmm. I've never played Alias the game, but I can guarantee you Pandora Tomorrow, the weakest of the series, is a better game.
So, yeah, obviously, the plot of that just involves, again, it's set between episodes 19 and 20, which means a lot happened in it, which means she was far more active, and you gotta miss no days off.
So, again, I've never seen the show, but as far as I'm aware, it's like, okay, the whole point of the Alias thing is that you're a different person. It's like, put on this wig, now you're this person, right?
That's what she is most famous for.
So do you do any of that in the game, or again, is it just shooting dudes?
So on the first mission, you start off with a disguise, and it's like, okay, I want you to go over there, do this little thing, and then it's like, okay, wait for this person to pass. Now go into that back room. And so there's two ways of sneaking around. You either toggle or hold the crouch button, or whichever you put on your keyboard, or stealth mode, which is just basically picture yourself standing, but you bend your knees and crouch down slightly, but not like all the way down to like table height.
Well, she's got to wear heels.
Yeah, until I went to this one room where it's like, hey, switch your disguise to your stealth outfit, because one of the things
What were you keeping in your fucking handbag?
Magic. Yeah, magic. And the stealth outfit, it just basically serves its purpose, including in one little thing, because it went to that little freezer room, and it says it helps you keep warm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things. And the combat in the game, I would say, from my experience, is again, first time for everything. It's a little clunky.
No shit.
There's only like two ways to attack. Like you hit space, which is quick attack, and then you hit the alt key, the left alt key, which is special attack. Like if you're on a certain area, like say if you're by an object or a wall, that she would perform a badass move, like she would do a flip, like she step up on the wall and flip over the guy in order to kick or punch him from behind.
It sounds a lot like the Catwoman game, which is based on the Halle Berry terrible movie. It was also terrible for different reasons.
And also you can use objects. Even picked up a wine bottle one time and whacked a guy. Even you break it and you could still hit him with that broken bottle instead of stabbing with it.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So there's like shooting?
Haven't shot anyone yet, but there were a few armed guards I did deal with, including picking up a big ass broom to whack a guy with it.
It was great stealth spying you got there, Sydney.
Yeah, and don't get detected by security cameras. It's not a failed mission. That means you're gonna fight some more.
So there's no penalty then?
Just don't get killed.
So you haven't beaten it yet, is what you're telling me?
No, that one requires a little more time. And also, you cannot save where you stand. You gotta save at little save points, especially if you see it hovering with the letter S on it. S hasn't saved.
Obviously. So, would you qualify this game as fun? It doesn't. It seems jank as fuck.
Well, as myself being a huge fan of that series, and still am to a degree to this day, and if I put a little more time on it, and memorize everything, maybe I think it'll be a little more fun than the first time.
We should mention you got this through, I assume, one of those websites that's like, look, this is abandonware, nobody's selling it anymore, so it's technically not illegal for you to download it.
Yeah, got off of abandonware. There's no way you'll find that on Steam. And one little thing, prior to the Acclaim release, they actually, by they, I mean ABC Television, produced a downloadable episodic video game for PC and Mac entitled Alias Underground, which was available through ABC's website at that time, developed by the now defunct company named Dream Mechanics, which was just like with the game, it's a 3D third-person stealth action game, like the Acclaim production. Even though it's got lower production values, and each level of the game was produced as an individual episode and released on a monthly basis during the second season between 2002 to June of 2003, and some levels resembled episodes from that TV series.
So about this thing, I want to wrap it up here on this. As far as budgetary, who's actually in the game? I assume Garner's likeness. Did they get her voice?
Every single cast member who appeared in that TV series, their voice is landed in that game for all of their likeness.
Astonishing.
And
that's where all the budget went.
Yes, and they got the same composer for that series too to do the music.
Victor Garber requires a hefty fee to say dumb lines.
Unless you're thinking of Kevin Weisman, he's the guy with
the big forehead. Yeah, nobody remembers him from doing anything.
However, it's only him as Marshall J. Flinkman and Carl Lumbly, who played as Marcus Dixon. Those likenesses have the best looking likenesses graphically, as far as I'm concerned, with the game. The rest are a little uncanny.
I've played a surprising amount of licensed games in my time, and recently I played a licensed game. I don't think I want to get into it on this episode, but it's an interesting thing when you pay for, if you base it off a real person, right? You have to pay that real person. But if you don't use that real person's voice, you pay them less.
Otherwise, you're going to get somebody else, right?
Yeah, or you might as well get somebody else. Do you remember the other James Bond games, Agent Under Fire and all that shit? That was not Pierce Brosnan. That was just some British dude.
Huh.
It looked kind of like Pierce Brosnan if you squint, but it sounded nothing like him, so they didn't have to pay him. So, when they made Everything or Nothing, it's like, oh shit, it's Pierce's face and voice, we gotta pay him. Yeah. And then they went to Craig, and it's like, well, we gotta pay him.
Yeah.
And subsequently, the games with Pierce and Craig were fucking terrible because they spent so much money on the actor.
Yeah. And if you remember from an older podcast we did years ago when we talked about Star Wars Battlefront 2, they only had 3 of the actual cast members that voiced their characters.
Who?
Yeah. Oh, one is obviously Billy D. Williams as Lando.
Oh, okay, sure.
Because nobody could do it like him. And since we're talking a little bit about for 2 regarding voices, Captain Phasma, that was voiced by Gwendolyn Christie.
Sure.
Yeah. And Rey was voiced by Daisy Ridley herself.
In the game? No way.
Yes, that was her.
Did she affect a voice that doesn't sound anything like her?
Well, there's a difference between, saying your lines in a movie as compared to saying your lines in a studio.
There shouldn't be, if you're any good at being a voice actor. We don't have time in this episode, but there's a huge rift of, you see this in like Disney movies and fucking Pixar and crap. It's like, oh, we got a famous person to do this voice. It's like, are they a voice actor or are they a visual actor? Are they a person that's on screen? So a lot of times movies and a few games, think like if we get a real actor, quote unquote, it'll be better. And it's like, I guarantee you it won't. You should have sent one to someone who specializes in voice acting, who only does that. But that's an argument for another time.
Yeah.
And speaking of Disney-owned properties, we've talked about this, I think, twice already, but you've been playing even more of Marvel's Avengers.
Yeah, this time I have a much more enjoyable experience, now that I have plenty of experience of it. Did I say experience twice?
Go on.
Anyways, yeah, I did spend more of the first campaign, which is reasonable, right?
Sure.
And then I did some of the second campaign featuring Kate Bishop.
Mm-hmm. Where she can suddenly teleport, and we don't really explain why.
No, that doesn't bother me because it's all self-contained in an original story. Just go with it.
Yes, and then time travel, which really fucked with shit.
Oh, that's more of a you thing than anything else.
Oh.
So yeah, I was just doing more of that stuff. It's like, yeah, did this, and we're doing some of that. What I've been on hold with doing any more of the story missions as of the last 2 weeks, before I decided to take a break on Marvel's Avengers before this time of recording. But in between, in some of the actions, I've recorded about 12 videos from that game. But these are all mostly 30-second videos,
Something funny or wacky happens. Because it's the combat, I think, while enjoyable, can get a little jank because there's a lot going on at any time. Like every fight is chaos fight.
Yes. It's like even sometimes you may encounter glitchy enemies because they keep falling through a part of a map where you can't get them, or none of your guys can get them, right?
Yeah. It's happened once or twice. Like, typically, if it's a part of the game where you have to eliminate everybody to move on, I would usually like run away or restart. I mean, it's not that huge a deal.
Yeah, I had this one boss battle with the future Taskmaster, the one that's set in the Wastelands.
Oh, you mean the Taskmaster that's just a guy instead of fucking mind controlled? Yeah, great.
Anyways, that thing. Where it's like, yeah, we had a boss battle and kind of kicked my ass a little, even though we were
to be fair, that in that Taskmaster fight, because it's repeatable, in that fight he can go briefly invisible.
Yeah, and there was a glitch where he went invisible and never came back. And
It's cheating.
yes, and I mean it didn't attack us. It was just stuck there, just stood there. Took it like a champ, every single blow. It took minutes, nearly 5 minutes, but hey, what works, as you would say.
Yeah,
Not those exact words, but you get my meaning.
sure.
But the majority of the missions I was doing, it's not only whatever little boss fight is, because you know those assignments for the those two factions, the Shield and the
Sure.
Inhumans, yeah, the Human
Like every other
Alliance.
live service games, they've got daily and weekly challenges.
Especially for certain characters with their daily and weekly challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing that as well. And so that's what I've been doing those last 2 weeks. I was ambitious, as I tend to be. Where you set
Sir,
your goal
have you
and you
done
do
any
it.
hive missions, Mr. Ambitious?
Oh, they haven't come up to me yet.
That doesn't make any sense. You should have unlocked them already, having done the story.
Uh,
I would help, but again, I have a. Hey, guess what? It's about to be June when I publish this. You got a Series S at Christmas. It's still in the box. I have a Series X, and on Series X, the Avengers is over 120 gigabytes. And I cannot.
yeah.
So I cannot help you because that game is just too fucking large. I can't believe it's
Still large.
It's not like Battlefield. It's not like Battlefield or Call of Duty levels of hard drive destroying, but it's huge.
But I believe Call of Duty Warzone takes the cake of having the most data in any other game.
I know, but you can't get it separately. I mean, you can get Warzone separately. Well, let's say you buy the Modern Warfare, which is the Modern Warfare remake reboot. That's about to have a sequel this year.
Yeah, 2.
But I'm saying, if you buy that game, it comes with Warzone. You can't get it. You can't un-get Warzone.
Right.
Anyways,
So, again, it's not only the little boss battles, it's just one of the assignments, but also those shield vault missions that I've been doing a lot of. And the majority of the clips that I've recorded were from those at that time. Especially when I'm playing either as Black Widow or Kate Bishop, which Kate Bishop is my most played character so far, and that's the one I believe that one's my favorite character to play as.
sure, fast, mobile, does an okay bit of damage.
Especially this little combination I like to do. You know how one of the abilities that Kate does, where she would shoot these little explosive arrows that you could set off any time, right? That you just plant
Sure.
about 3 or 4 onto the guy, right?
Mhm.
So I would, do 4 of that, and then shoot one more of the little smoke arrows, so I could expose an impact and does smoke and it'll cause damage, right?
Sure.
So I just put 4 explosive arrows on him, and then here's one more for the smoke, and then as it takes damage, and then you self-expose just to add even more damage, which makes it more susceptible to getting a takedown.
I guess. I never found those timed explosions very useful.
I,
Hawkeye has a variant. Hawkeye has a variant of those too, and it's like, why would I want? Here's the logic. I'll tell you exactly what it is. So you can have shoot a guy, or you can shoot a guy and it'll do damage later. That's the basic principle. Why would I want to do damage later when I can do damage now?
I was raised on the school of thought of this part of combat where you set them up and then you knock it down. Like, we're just setting it up, and then here comes the knockout blow.
You can get several small knocks that will eventually knock him down as well. Do you remember GoldenEye? Let's go all the fucking way back to N64. They had proximity mines and remote mines.
And timed mines.
Yes, but those last two were terrible to use, and proximity mines were the best because they would be off instantly. You just throw it at a guy, he explodes, instead of waiting for you to press a button. Same principle. Just shoot him with a damn arrow. Why do you need to blow him up later?
Because I just find it a little more fun that way. A little more satisfying, I think I should say.
So you've been doing a lot of shield vault missions. Those have good rewards for the amount of things you have to
Yeah,
do in them.
the reason I mentioned I was ambitious because at that time, those shipments, like especially on a week or a month, especially month, they change monthly. It's like, hey, you want to unlock this cool looking outfit for this character? Well, work
Sure.
for it. Get up to 25,000 credits. That's what I've been doing those last 2 weeks.
You've still not paid for any credits in this game, right?
No.
Good. So take that. Everyone on the internet who says you have to. Fuck you. I didn't either. Actually, that's not true. I did for one, but I'd have to look up what it was. But I didn't pay much. I mean, it was like $5.
It was just a small little cosmetic or a takedown you wanted.
No, I don't buy takedowns. I buy costumes, because that's the point of the thing, right? I mean, like, you know, we've talked a lot about this before, and Sizzy's a little annoyed with us talking about it so much because he didn't like it. But you know, it's a little jank. It's a little broken. It's maybe not. I say it's way better than it was at launch. Having played it at launch, let me tell you, the game in its current state orders better. But the appeal is to be Marvel heroes beating up dudes. I mean, that's it, right? There's nothing beyond that. You don't need things beyond that.
Yeah, and that's what...
It doesn't need to be a Batman Arkham Knight where you're, you know, spend 30 hours in stealth and, you know, a heavy story and all this crap. Just sometimes you just want to beat dudes up.
Yeah, that's sort of the reason why I recorded a bunch of clips of these, especially if it's cool looking. Like, especially those two little clips I've made that I posted on my channel since then, where I was playing as Black Widow, where I used that high caliber pistol and decide to snipe enemies with it from afar, and so you could hear that little shot, and then until you hear a noise, which is a headshot to one of the enemies, particularly the weaker ones, which is kind of satisfying.
It's a great gun because it has no drop off.
Yeah. And did the same thing with Kate Bishop as well, just snipe enemies from afar with that. That's what I was doing during the last few of the Shield Vault missions. Whenever I have time or haven't done a video, then I want to do this little thing.
I still say the best place to level up your dudes is hives.
And also, and if you want to put your time into knowing if you're going to spend a lot of time on that game, be sure to use those consumables, especially those double XP ones.
Well, they give them out all the time because they want people to play the game. Dwindling. Square Enix, is this where we're going to transition to the Square Enix part?
Almost. I just want to tell you one little thing from the recent experience. I mean, obviously I mentioned Black Widow, Kate Bishop as being two characters I played as the most, especially with Kate, and as well as I've taken a few screenshots of the said characters using that photographer mode and shared it with some of my friends on the internet who are into that stuff about as much as you are.
Well, I'm not into... I'm into the Marvel here side of things. The game, you know, I had my fun. Maybe. I keep saying maybe, and it's like, when they learn to shrink the damn file size, I'll go back. But, I don't take photos ever in any game, ever. I don't bother.
Because whereas I've been doing that for years.
I know, but you weren't a semi-professional photographer, and I was.
Were you paid?
Sometimes, that's why I said semi-professional.
I'm just nodding my head, in case you were
wondering.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you said that out loud, because I was like, oh shit, did we lose him?
No, I'm just nodding my head in approval.
Is that what you had?
Yeah.
Okay, so Square, in between the last show and the one we did, Square Enix sold off basically all of its Western, not all, but most of its Western properties to Embracer Group, which is a weird, you know, Overlord group name, but that's what they're called. They sold the Thief series, Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, and like Legacy of Kain or some other thing that hasn't been used in forever. But for now, they are keeping the Marvel stuff, which is the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers. It's up in the air because this deal isn't finalized as to whether or not Embracer Group will also get those games. And to be clear, they've got the game properties, not the studios that made them. So they didn't buy, you know, Montreal, or Square Enix Montreal, and they didn't buy Crystal Dynamics. That's not what happened. They bought the licenses for those games. So any future game, Tomb Raider, won't be probably, well, I don't know that it will be, won't be made by Crystal Dynamics, but it won't be published by Square for sure. So the future of the Avengers game is kind of up in the air, but also in between when we last talked about it, they've announced a new hero as female Thor, Jane Foster, for this upcoming movie, the Thor movie. I assume a tie-in. I'm going to assume she's not going to look or sound anything like Natalie Portman.
I was going to say, they're not going to have her likeness.
That was no fucking way. Again, licensed games are different than they used to be. But I assume since they've already announced it and we've had, screenshots, that's going to happen at some point in this future, so that's going to at least happen. How much more after that, we still don't know. Square Enix has made some baffling decisions in terms of like their live service games. And when we say live service, we mean a game that you pay for after you've already bought it. In this case, it's like buying credits to, unlock titles, or who gives a shit? I don't know why you spend money on titles or takedowns, but buy different outfits. And for superheroes who have had, 70 some odd years of existence, they're gonna have, well, Marvel specifically only had like 50. They're gonna have a lot of varieties of outfits because they've just the way it is. In the Batman Arkham games, Batman's got like 20 suits because it's been around a long time. They change artists, they change ideas, and it's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to play, Thor in his Beta Ray Bill suit, or Captain America without a shirt, if you're into that sort of thing. So I see the appeal, but I also understand the other side of not wanting to pay for an in-game currency to unlock that thing.
Like those units that I worked my way up to get a shipment. I forgot to tell you that little part. As it's 25,000 credits. It's not how much. That's exactly how much it costs. It's just more of how much you're going to spend, because you have to spend 100 of these to unlock the item of the month, the outfit of the month.
My only real problem with the outfit stuff, and I see this as a problem in other games that let you change clothes. It's like, okay, how long am I going to wear this? It's like, okay, I'm going to dress like an idiot for, I guess, the next mission, and then I change afterwards, or like forever. How long is Thor going to be in this dumb blue shirt? It's like, well, like, I paid in-game credits for it. I guess I kind of owe myself to wear it around. It's like,
Yeah.
It's the same thing in GTA. How often do you change clothes in GTA?
For me, it depends on what area I'm in and what mood I'm in.
Okay, I guess it's like real life. In real life, I only have like 9 shirts because I don't really care about clothing all that much in real life. But in a video game where you can dress up your RPG character, it's like, all right, I'm going to wear this outfit for this mission. All right, now we're changing it up. So I understand we're not wanting to pay real money for that sort of thing. But, yeah, you don't have to. As to the future of that game, I don't know. My biggest hope is that they shrink the size. If they keep adding more heroes and more costumes, and Square Enix continues to support it financially, who knows where it'll go. If they continue to decide to not say this is sunk cost fallacy and we're just done, then I hope it does get sold and somebody else picks it up. Because there's great potential in this game, and if it wasn't a live service, it could have gone further, I think.
Yeah.
So last time we talked, last time we had a show,
Yes.
I don't remember how this got around, but we started talking about old racing games I played, because
Yes.
it's one of the things we never talk about on this show.
Because
Nobody else plays them, yes.
Yeah.
None of the other co-hosts play racing games at all. And I was thinking, it's like, well, what do I want to talk about this week? It's like, oh, you brought your Ford yourself. It's like, you know what? Here's another thing that I always wanted to talk about on this show, and I never have, because nobody else plays this, really, is fighting games. I can't say I love fighting games as much as I love racing games, but only because I'm much worse at fighting than I am at racing, if that makes sense. But I've never played a racing game online, but I have played many fighting games online, and that's a horrible experience. If you're ever feeling too good about yourself and you really want to depress yourself, play a fighting game online. You'll want to die.
Unless somebody's got a different mindset like I do.
I guess. When's the last fighting game you played? On the fucking GameCube?
Oh, God. Probably...
Soul Calibur 2?
No. That's a little more recent than that. Soul Calibur 4. Xbox 360.
Oh, yeah, the one with Star Killer.
Yeah, you got that right.
And Yoda, I believe,
Yes,
right?
yes, Yoda was in that version.
PlayStation and Darth Vader. That was kind of a lousy game. You know what? Like, 2 we have great fond memories of because it was not our first, but we didn't have many fighting games on the GameCube.
Yeah, and anything older than that must have been found on arcades, like a Mortal Kombat or something.
Well, I don't remember owning any, but I know Nick and I played them on Jerry's Super NES. And I think we rented one of the Mortal Kombat on the Genesis because the Super NES version didn't have any blood and the Genesis version did. Yeah. But, yeah, after that, like when we got the PS2, it's like, okay, cool, now we're going to get Mortal Kombat Deception and Armageddon, that's all the fighters. And going forward from that, later genres. But like Soul Calibur 2, we had on the GameCube because it had a Link, and that was funny at the time.
Yeah. Whereas
3 was on
the other two are the other two versions.
Oh yeah, there was on the Xbox version had Spawn, which I played at college. Let me tell you, terrible. And the PlayStation version had Heihachi Mishima from Tekken, which is also terrible, but for different reasons. Anyways, so then PlayStation 2 comes out, and we get Soul Calibur 3, and it's
an
much
exclusive.
worse game. Yes, yeah, that was one of the reasons it was worse. Also because it had a weird strategy game in the middle of the story mode.
Yeah, Chronicles of the Soul or the Sword, whatever that is called. I never did it.
They all have dumb names. The latest one in 6 is called Libra of the Soul. It's like Library of Soul. It's like, oh, it's so dumb.
What the hell?
But anyways, you and Nick had a huge drop off from that, and I kind of kept going because, for all its faults, I really like Mortal Kombat. I certainly like it more than, let's say, the more popular one, Street Fighter. Street Fighter's a fucking pain in the ass. Street Fighter... Here's the thing about fighting games, right?
Yeah.
I like punching dudes, as I've mentioned before.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to hit a guy. You just want to punch a guy, and it makes you feel better. But sometimes you get punched back, and you don't feel as good. I understand this is basic psychology.
Well, what are you going to do about it if you can punch back? You got to hit him back. That's the point of fighting. Get up and fight.
Yes,
be a stand-up guy.
Here's the thing. I have two fundamental flaws in fighting games, and that I refuse to change. Is one that I refuse to pick a main. When we're playing like Smash Brothers Melee or whatever.
Oh shit! Yeah, forgot to mention about Super Smash Bros. We played back in the.
Yeah, that was more a Nick's game. Or Tekken or Street Fighter. It's like you got to pick one guy. You're gonna get good with the one character, and I don't like that idea.
That's for
I think
competitive
that's really fucking
stuff.
Stupid. I know, but people are competitive. Having played fighting games online in Mortal Kombat 11 and Tekken 7, both of which I 100%ed, it must be noted, which means I had to play online. I don't like the idea of having to get good with only one, because it's a roster of 30 people. You got 30 people on that roster, you're going to pick one person to play all the time? That's horrible. But you're depriving yourself of experience. The second thing that prevents me from being good at fighting games is my refusal to press the block button. I'm more likely to press a block if, in like Soul Calibur and Mortal Kombat, there's a block button. You press this button will block. What bullshit like Tekken and Street Fighter, I don't think Tekken, Street Fighter for sure does, is back. And Injustice, I think, does this too. It's awful. I don't like holding back because I'm always moving forward. I'm always going towards my opponent. Now I have to tap backwards to block. That's not a block button, that's a block direction. And I hate that shit. So I never do it in the games that it's required, so I'm always going to get punched. I much prefer to be in the offensive than the defensive, I guess is the point I'm trying to make here.
Offense is the best defense. That sounds like you're fighting 101.
Well, to me, yes, but that's why I've never gotten good at these sorts of things, because, I don't want to learn the mechanics. In a racing game, I can understand the racing line in the apex, and it's like when to shift gears, and, when to speed up versus when to slow down, when to take the outside line. I understand those things through playing. But like frame data and like canceling and, cross-ups and, forward punches versus middle punches, it's like, oh, I can't give a shit. I can't care about all that minutia. I just want to hit people.
And memorize the combos.
God, fuck no. If I want to look at a combo, I'm going to pause the game because I'm playing offline. Look it up. It's like, this. Okay. Haha, I did it. Sweet. But memorizing that? Absolutely not. I refuse.
How do you
I play games to have fun, not to have a job.
Whereas that's my shit.
Yeah, but you don't play fighting games, so what do you know?
Nah, you can grow out of it.
I haven't grown out of it. I don't play them online because it's soul sucking. Tekken 7, which I 100%ed. I want to keep repeating this. There's a part where you have to play in what's called the tournament. So it's not just one other guy, it's, a bracket. And it was double elimination, which means I had to lose twice. I don't have to win the tournament, I have to play the tournament. The problem with the tournament format is all fighting games are, well, there are a couple of team fighters, but it's still a one person versus another person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in the tournament bracket, you're waiting out other people's fights. So I'm sitting there watching two other strangers somewhere in the world on the internet fighting. And it's like, wow, this sure is boring as hell. Which is the other thing. Hold on.
Wait, don't you get spectator mode?
Yeah, but I don't watch it. I don't like watching people play fighting. It's the other thing. It's like, Evo and Capcom Cup and all this other crap. And, when I went to PAX South, there was like Melee tournament or some shit. I was like, this is so boring.
Well,
it is the...
that's because you believe in the same way as watching some person live stream, rather than try to learn something of what the other guy's doing and make sure you don't fall a mistake that he wants you to do. It's almost like I'm giving you advice like a coach.
I think it is more of what I've said this before on the show. I much rather play a game than watch someone play a game. And I understand that literally both of my brothers are content creators where they play video games. I get that. But I'd rather play them for my personal benefit than play them for an audience. Like, I'll do this podcast for an audience. If somebody listens, great. If you don't listen, I don't fucking care. But I don't want to play a game for someone else. Because to me, that feels like work. If I'm playing a game, I'm doing it to have fun for myself. And I don't want that to be a shared experience. So I don't take that same shared experience. I'm not watching a fighting game tournament. If you see me in here and I'm watching some damn YouTube thing of somebody playing a game, it's background noise. I'm just doing it while I play games because I need to be, fucking I have ADHD. I need to be doing 2 or 3 things at once.
Then my videos are
the other reason I really love fighting games is because lots of shit can happen at once.
That's because you thrive on chaos.
I really do. I like when things happen. And when they happen constantly because it's interesting as opposed to nothing happening. It's like, okay, we're going to play our sailing game and we're going to go slowly across the Atlantic. Dun-dun! Narwhal attack. I was like, ugh.
Coming back to the fucking narwhal. I even left a message on a bottle.
What'd you say? Send them out on SOS, repeat times 20?
No, it says, narwhal kicked my ass.
Stabbed your ass. Anyways, I bloody love fighting games. Even if I'm terrible at them, I get very easily frustrated. I was like, well, fuck this. I'm never playing this again. Uninstall, and then, a couple weeks later, come back to it. But, I don't really have, like, a preference. I'll play anything. Mortal Kombat, Dead or Alive, Tekken, obviously, a bunch of other crap. Just whatever.
There's a lot of fighting franchises out in the world. Can't get into most of them because I'm just, not something that I want to get myself sucked into.
Well, that's the point of this show, isn't it? We have differences of play styles. Like, I like fighting and racing, and you like thinking.
A thinker, not a fighter, as the old saying goes.
Yeah, I guess. A thinker, not a stinker. That's all I had to say, though. I really love them, and we never talk about them because, there's not a lot to talk about. They're not real deep. Unless you play competitively, which I do not.
Otherwise, we're just going to be talking out of our asses by memories and experiences of it. Which, of course, this was
the title of this episode.
Of course, this is before the days of video recording and all that. And when you mention my videos, I don't think you should just mention videos in general. Where you said it's background noise. My videos are perfect for background noise for anybody.
Is that really how you want to market yourself, dude?
If people were watching, Grand Strategy Games videos of mine, it's like, yes, they're time consuming and they're about as long as your average movie. So that's perfect background noise if you want to veer off because of my manner of speaking.
Also because you read all the text.
Yes. That's why I thought it would suit you.
And where can people find these videos?
At the L0rd Masta channel, of course. That's L0rd Masta.
Great.
I just slid the keyboard towards me just to memorize the keys.
It's in your fucking picture here on Skype.
Wasn't looking at it. I was looking up something else.
It's on YouTube. I, of course, am on Twitter. You had anything else? I'm wrapping this up.
Do I have anything else to say?
Yeah, I'm wrapping this up.
Yeah, regarding my upcoming projects or things.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, because we didn't do that the last show, which I don't mind because...
Well, frankly, I forgot, and I just forgot right now, so do it.
Well, of what people should be looking forward to seeing on my L0rd Masta YouTube channel is...
Yes?
There's an upcoming Crusader Kings DLC, which is called Fate of Iberia, which, of course, by that time of recording it, would be already out by then.
Yeah, this will be, like, first weekend of June or something.
Yeah, it'll already be out by then. and I plan on doing a video series from Serial Kings 3, even though it's not going to be set at the area where the DLC is based in, but instead over on the other side of the world, in the Tarim Basin region in modern-day northwestern China, where I am most likely going to be doing a series as the Tokharians, lesser-known minority culture, of course. One of the people,
Because that's your specialty.
yeah, one of the peoples of the Silk Roads, the natives of that area. The ones who aren't related to anybody around them.
I'm gonna cut that. Do you plan on making any videos of the Caribbean
Oh,
seal, or what? I've already forgotten what it's called, sail?
yeah, the Caribbean sail, maybe. Just I need more experience. And don't be surprised if I post any possible video clips that's going to come from Marvel's Avengers if I did a real badass combination of moves or something that is well timed or a funny ass glitch.
Would that be in compilations like GTA and Red Dead?
No, it's all separate single clips. Although I may have to put up a playlist because if I keep piling up those kind of videos,
Yeah.
which I'm sure one day you'll see them just to get a kick out of it.
I have seen them, dude. Don't talk about them. You find me on the internet, on Twitter, at Loki Jarson, and nowhere else. The website is the internet's worst. The website is internetsworst.com. We're on iTunes and I think Spotify, although Spotify has been giving me fits because it's missing the last few episodes. I have to fix that. I have no idea how. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.